So why do we want to do these sessions, and why we started these sessions is basically to educate on open source RPA. It's an evolving area. Still, as I said, the tool has some distance to go, but we want to start learning about it, get to know what it's about, what the architecture is. We'll see some exciting demos today, and so that's the kind of thing we want to enable, get us to understand what open source RPA is about and what are the various tools available. And once you know about it, hopefully you will start getting involved. Collaboration is key for us to develop this field. So please go ahead and contribute to TagUI or any of the open source tools that you like. And also, let's start a movement where we all can, contribute to each of these tools and also to combine them and create innovation. The good thing about open source is it's not proprietary. We can take each of those distinct components and work with different open source tools and create amazing innovations. And I think that's where it will go. So today's session, Ken So, he is the architect. He's the guy behind TagUI. He's an RP architect at AI Singapore. He is a very talented guy. He's just got an exceptional talent visa, so he'll be moving to UK by end of March. And so we've got Yixing, who is going to take over from him. So I wanted him also to be there. So that's the team, guys. I mean, we just wanted to get this rolling with TagUI. So over to you, Ken.
Okay, sure. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks Nathan for organizing this session, and thank you everyone for joining. Let me share my screen. All right, the first example. So you guys are already familiar about RPA, so I just go straight to show what the tool can do. So let's say you have a MS Word document, right, and your organization department want to mass edit those information based on the database, based on the CSV file. You can do that with RPA. For example, in this case, I set the letter, address of donor, name of donor. All these are fields to be filled up. And then I run an automation to fill that up and print it. So let me just double click on this demo. Right. So when I double click on the icon, it launches TagUI in the background, and then it takes like maybe 10 seconds to load the computer vision to try to automate the Microsoft Word. So in the back end is running Schooly and OpenCV and Tesseract OCR. So the rest standard tools for computer vision and this text to image to text. Okay. So now, well, of course, the first thing is to try to minimize the window and then, double click to open the document. Then after that, based on the image identifiers, we can start to type and fill up the information to print. So right now, I'm not the one controlling the mouse, but there's the TagUI software that's running it. Okay, and then print it. So you can use a data table, a CSV file to do this for maybe 100 repetitions for different data. So now I'm just showing you one example. And let me just stop this, close this, okay. And close Microsoft Word. Okay, let me show you how the code looks like in the back end. This website is just some videos and example TagUI workflows, which I already included in the meeting agenda at the lower left corner. Okay, so this is the one for the the Microsoft Word. So you see in the back end is all these steps. You write in normal English language what you want to do. You want to click on this, you want to click on that, double click, you want to type something, and then file menu and so on. And then you provide the image assets, what you want to interact with on the UI layer. And this is for desktop application. For web application, you can use this image automation method. At the same time, you can use XPath, CSS, and all your other HTML attributes. Those will work as well. But for desktop apps, only image and computer vision is supported. Unlike UiPath, the commercial RPA tools, they use a Microsoft automation layer to talk directly natively to the backend. Okay, so this is very straightforward. And the good thing about this type of workflow is that besides English, you can write it in 20 other languages like Chinese, Hindi, Malay, French, and so on. Let me show you an example. Just last week, there's this guy, I think it's Jorinda. So he just created a PR that let TagUI take in Hindi language as a script, and then you can run it, write in Hindi what you want to do, and then you can run it. So this was a PR that he gave. So go to TagUI homepage, languages, Hindi. So what he did was to create this PR where he defines what are the TagUI steps, and he gave me the Hindi definition for it. All these are those Hindi definitions. So now I just do a quick demo on it using Hindi. So this is the source code for the Hindi automation. It's a demo showing going to Yahoo to do a search, and then go to DuckDuckGo and do another search. So open with text editor. It's a bit small. Let me zoom in. So you see all the steps here are written in Hindi. All the things you want to do. All this the slash is the command, so you can ignore them. But the actual source code for the automation is all over here in Hindi, right? All this click and wait and do snapshot. So let me try to run it and see how it looks. But before running, I just need to set the language to Hindi language. The default is English. And the good thing is, after you write an automation workflow in Hindi or English, you can use an inbuilt translator to translate it into another language. Let's say you're based in India, you develop in English, but maybe you're serving a client from France. You can translate that to French so that the user can maintain the code base himself or herself later on. Okay, so now I try to run the Yahoo example using Hindi. Okay. So let me zoom this down. Okay, so today I think the computer is a little bit slower because I'm trying to share video and do recording so that those who can't attend can see. So you see now all the steps are being done in Hindi. The steps, what to do, and after going to GitHub, wait for 6 seconds, and then go to DuckDuckGo and do another search. And during the execution, you can change the language to output to some other languages, like maybe German language or Japanese languages. Yeah. So unlike many other RPA tools, TagUI is more like a command line tool, and the source code is essentially text files, which you can write in a human language. Same for conditions and so on. Do snapshots and collect the results. All these things are very, very straightforward stuff that can be done. Data scraping or process automation, all those things can be done. Okay, so now I go back to the next demo. Let me see. So far, yep, there's some questions here. Okay, great. The other one I'll do now is maybe go to DBS website. I think a large number of you are from India, so you've heard of DBS Bank. So in this demo, I write an automation script to go to DBS Bank website to check out the forex rates. Yeah, go ahead.
And this is Nandan. Can you check if people are waiting there?
Seems okay. I didn't get the pop-up. Yeah. Yeah, seems okay. Okay, maybe I should just show my face so that they won't have the inception effect. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Go back to this DBS demo. So you see, now this automation example, go to DBS Forex rate page and try to get data from the Forex rates, And over here, you see, it's collecting like US dollar, euro, and the rates. And it's collecting it to the CSV file to be sent through email. And then after collecting the rates and saving as a CSV file, you'll open email to send that information out. Okay, so now you see the mouse cursor moving to type the email using Gmail. In this case, I'm using computer vision to do it, but you can also use a web locator like XPath and so on. But normally, depends on your use case. For demos, I like to use visual automation so that you can see the mouse cursor moving. All right, so attaching the numbers .csv, right, and then sending it out. Okay. Right, so let me open up the CSV file. Yeah, so you have all the forex rates collected as a CSV and then sent to your boss. So a lot of this type of repetitive use cases are being used by companies. Some of them will log into the government tender website to see what are the latest jobs and then collect the latest job based on the keyword and send to their marketing department. So those are very common use cases. Same for this DBS example, you can see the source code here at this link. Under this agenda, you can have this link, and the source code are things like that. You write in your human language, but the XPath is still in XPath. There's no shortcut for this. Then other things like Gmail, you write in your human language step what you want to do. You want to type something here, you want to click something there, and so on. Okay. Okay, let me go back to some other example. Now there's this virus thing, coronavirus thing. So what happened is, we can write automation to do extraction of some of the statistic summary and send to stakeholders. For example, they have this WHO daily report which looks like this. Right, but the thing is, the report contains maybe too much information for most stakeholders. So what I'm going to show you here is a demo where this TagUI will run a workflow to go to this website, download the PDF, and extract the summary of the new cases for the world and the summary of the new cases for China over here. Yep. So, and then send an email out based on this information. Okay, so let me run it. It's WHO email. And when I double click on this icon, when you develop something in the text file, you can just use a deploy option. Then TagUI will automatically generate this icon where you can double click and run. For Windows, it's a batch file. For Mac OS, it's a command. It's a shell script. Yeah, this is a suggestion by Ishan, which was really useful and great. Later on, you also see another suggestion that he suggested, interacting with elements on the screen by specifying the text. So, okay, now setting focus to Chrome, pasting the URL. Now, using OCR, we try to click on the situation report 37, the latest one. Okay. Okay, I think the automation failed halfway. I think it's because now when I'm doing recording, I have additional icon there that casts the shadow. So it's not trying to capture properly. But if it runs properly without, that's the fallback of RPA, in the sense, if there's something changed in your desktop environment, sometimes you can break your automation. But if it works perfectly, what will happen is it will generate these statistics, something like this, from a PDF file, and then send an email with a link to the latest report, again through Gmail. Okay, so I will not try to fix this to make it run on the spot because it will take time. But my guess is because there's this icon here that's casting an extra shadow, so sometimes this kind of thing can break in automation. Okay, so the way to do it is similar to the earlier example. You provide icons to click, interact, and for web pages, you can use images. You can also use XPath, CSS selectors, and so on. Okay. Let me just close this and go back to. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for the demos. I also have another demo for RateMart, but for some reason, I think recently I can't log into RateMart from my Google Chrome browser. So instead of showing you a demo, I'll just show you a video of it running. So RateMart, this was when I can log in, but now I can't log into my account on Chrome. So RateMart, when you try to order grocery, if you try to reschedule or you try to make a new order, it doesn't allow you to do that. You have to manually add one by one the previous items. So what I do was write this automation for my wife so that when she want to reschedule or reorder, she can just paste the URL of a previous order. Then you just go through the list of previous item and then try to add it to the cart one by one. And then she will manually check through before checking out. Yeah, so this is the code. It's very simple code mixed with some JavaScript and mixed with some human language steps. At the end of the day, you can say it's a low-code application because in most cases you can just do what you need to do writing in normal human language. Even the for loop you can write in human language for time in seconds from 1 to 300. But in some cases, you need to use JavaScript to do some more advanced manipulation. For example, setting up a DOM parameter and variables and so on. So yeah, so in some cases, you need JavaScript to really do very specific automation requirements. Okay. Let me see. Any question for now? No. Okay, great. So let me go on to the agenda. Intro to TagUI key features. So from here, webinar at the bottom, you can see the home page for TagUI. The first link is a homepage on AI Singapore homepage. Key feature, web automation, visual automation. Visual means you use computer vision to do it, and you use OCR to do it. Human language-like syntax, no coding knowledge required for most cases, but for specific automation, you still need some form of scripting language like JavaScript. And for the commercial RPA tools, you have things like VB Script and C#. 20 plus human languages, integration with R and Python, cross-platform. It runs out of the box for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Just unzip and run. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, some of the examples of those use cases. Okay, let's go to the GitHub homepage. So, okay, now I'll. One good thing about TagUI is it allows you to automate using different ways. For example, this is a going to Typeform, a survey application, and you can automate it by interacting using the web XPath and web attributes. You can automate it. Let me zoom in. It's a bit small. You can automate it by providing the image identifier of what you want to interact with. In addition to that, you can automate it by specifying the XY coordinate where you want to interact with. So it's the same step, but you can take in different inputs, to tell TagUI how you want to interact with that UI element. Okay. Okay, so basic and pro steps. Let me go here. Yeah, so these are the basic UI interaction steps. Very straightforward step which you can type in English or any other 21 languages you choose to use. Yeah. It's just really basic stuff. Live step will be important and useful. I will show a demo now. There's this concept of live step where you have a live debugger. So if I do TagUI live, or you can insert a live step in your code, you can go into an interaction mode where you can test your code dynamically. That's very good for development and debugging. So let's say I want to go to Google and search for Nathan's homepage, right? So I just type https google.com, right? So I go to Google homepage, I will search for type what is this, Nathan.info. Type Q. Q is the locator for this Google search bar. As Nathan.info. Okay. Then I want to enter to do the search. Right, so it goes to that page here. Then you can do things like script the results, or click on the links, script the URLs and so on here. The good thing about live mode is you can test things dynamically and easy to troubleshoot and so on. So let me just quit this. Okay, done. Then there's this pro steps where you can do more sophisticated stuff like you know, you can have low-level control of your keyboard, your mouse, which you already saw just now. You see launching Google Chrome and going through the various text box to type into it. All those are using those keyboard automation. If you have a HTML table, you can even use the table step to download this whole HTML table to CSV in one line. So it's very easy. And some other features like TagUI is really good for websites and web apps. So things like web frame is supported natively. Things like sometimes you on a web page you may open up a new page, pop up. You can work with that too. You can make API calls. You can run OS level commands. You can also manipulate the web page DOM. If you're a web developer, you know what this means. Essentially, you can run JavaScript code on the web page you're trying to automate on. Including changing the element attributes, the values, and running JavaScript code on your target web page. But for most RPA cases, you shouldn't be doing this. I think it's more for hacking. I think this step. Normally, you won't need to use this. You can write JavaScript code in a TagUI script. You can write R code and Python code directly in the same script. Okay. So on. So let me go back to this agenda. Okay, so these are the basic and pro steps. And on top of that, you have your conditions, which you can write in your normal human language, or you can write in your JavaScript code, whichever you prefer. And again, all of this you can write in your native Hindi, Tamil, or Chinese language is okay. All this code you can write in your native languages because TagUI support 21 languages, and it's quite very easy to add new languages to the support list of supported languages. Essentially, it's just a CSV file that define what keyword map to what word in that language. I think the only languages that don't work well with TagUI will be things like those Middle Eastern languages. For them, they read from right to left, and their action and the now is actually the reverse order. So TagUI is more for languages that read from left to right. So it'll be very strange to write in Arabic. It'll be the reading it the wrong way. Yeah, but other than that, in most cases, most languages should be okay. There are things like helper function to make things easier for you, like you're directly copying to the clipboard or pasting things to the clipboard. This feature I think is added on later because sometimes users will say, I want to type a large amount of text, but I don't want to type it character by character. Can I do it faster? Yeah, so you can use this to do it faster. So you just paste your large chunk of text to the clipboard, and then you just use the keyboard step to, let me show you an example here. You just use the keyboard step to Control V and paste onto it. Then you don't have to type it, because instantaneously you will have pasted a large chunk of text to the target text box already, right? So all these are convenience tools, which without these things you can still use TagUI, but it just makes some of the things easier. Things that help you work with CSV file easily. Modules. If you are a programmer or developer, you will love this. You can break up your workflow into many files, and then you can call sub-modules and so on. Very easy to maintain and organize, so that maybe you have a sub-function that many other workflows are referenced. Then you don't have to keep changing everything every single time. You just need to change that sub-module code, and you can reuse it anywhere. Repository. This is like you separate the object's information from the code, the workflow code, right? So this is pretty standard stuff in the sense that if you separate the object definition, the locators, XPath, CSS, or the image locator from the code, the workflow code, what it means is that, let's say you automate 0 application. If the web interface change, you don't have to change the code for all your scripts. You just need to change the object definitions source file. And it supports both local and global repository for global scope, or for just the particular folder. So it is a very useful feature if you are building something more complicated. Okay. Then you have data tables. If you have a CSV file of what you want to automate, you can do that repetitively. Like some users actually do this to run automation overnight. I think 8 to 10 hours, run non-stop to get the data from goodreads.com and things like that. You can do that with data tables. Then there's the auditing function, where you can track what has been run at what time, the result, and so on. Okay. All this here are developer reference, like what are the files, and more like the architecture stuff. If you are planning to integrate with it, you'll be useful to know. And one thing that's unique about this tool is it's kind of like CLI based. Right? Everything is in the command line. You run it from the command line, and the files are text files. So it becomes very easy for you to build other complex stuff on top of TagUI. Because let's say you have a Node.js program, you can just generate some script and use TagUI to run it. It's just calling from a command line. It's very straightforward. Yeah. So this will be one of the advantages. But later on, we recognize that we ought to make this tool more user-friendly for the business user. That's why we brought Ishan on board the team, and he's actually from accounting background for a number of years already. But by bringing him on board, plus his developer background, he can actually try to shape the tool to be more user-friendly for business user. So things in the roadmap we have this year will be things like having the studio for TagUI and editor, things like an orchestrator for scheduling your workflows. You have things like a reporting dashboard for seeing the results of your automation. So things like that are being looked at to develop this year. Of course, Ishan will be driving all those things. I'll be in UK by then, so I won't be involved in this project as much. Probably maybe on the side, if there's some issues, I'll have a look at it. Let me see. Okay, getting started and getting involved. Right, from the home page for TagUI, you can just click Setup and then unzip and run. Very straightforward, And you want to have the cutting-edge version with the latest code, you can try this out here. Then you can try out all the new functionality. Okay, and getting involved, yes. So this one is very straightforward. The best way for a user to be involved in the project is try out the tool and give us feedback on what's lacking and what can you expect to improve, or if there's a bug. Also, all this user feedback is very important to us, Yeah, and sometimes you see something that's could be improved, like the PR which Jorinder submitted. It improved the translation for Hindi because at the start I simply wrote an TagUI script to go to Google Translate to automate all the mapping for the different languages. So it's not accurate for most of the languages. It's based on the accuracy of Google Translate. So you see something to improve it, like some users from Japan, Germany, and France, they send PR to improve the language translation for those languages. Okay, and so let me try to, okay, because there's maybe time is a bit tight. So right now I just go straight to, let me see. Okay, maybe I'll just briefly cover this. Okay, how to automate SAP Salesforce, Xero, and Google Sheet. So SAP is a desktop app. So what you do is you use like what I did earlier. So let me just close this. Let's say I'm at the TagUI Live. So when you're working with a desktop app, for TagUI, you have to rely on the keyboard access and also the computer vision. So let's say I have something like SAP, you have a button like that looks like this. I don't have SAP on my desktop, so I can't really demo SAP. But what I can do is show you how you can do it if you have SAP. Where's my where is my screenshot? It's like here, okay. Okay, all these things like messing up the table. Okay, so let's say I have this PC button, right? And I have this search button, right? And assuming this is SAP, then you can do things like it's taking so long to show up. Let me see. Okay, show here, search. Okay, so I can do, you can do things like now I'm running the live mode. Easier for debugging and demo. So I can click pc.png. Then you'll try to look for a match on the screen that looks like what you provided, right? And then you want to do click maybe type search.png as let's say automation, okay? So I'll just tap enter and set focus to here because otherwise you can't find a map. It looks different when it's activated and not, right? So let me just do. But when you write your automation workflow and run, it should work that way. So type here, type search, okay. So you look for that thing and then so on. Then you can also do things like keyboard shortcut to copy text out and paste text to clipboard and so on. So for desktop application, the primary mode of interaction will be this way. And Ishan, the time when he joined, he suggested a feature that's really, really cool. So for example, you can also interact by specifying a text. So let's say I want to click on this terminal here. Maybe you have SAP as a menu here, but you don't want to use a screenshot. You want to just provide the text. So you can do something like click terminal as using OCR. So what will happen is using TestRed OCR, you'll scan through the screen for a font and text that matches what you provided and then interact with that UI element. But because it works for different font sizes, it'll take like a few seconds to try to scan through and find a best batch. Yeah, you see? So this cursor move and find, and realize out of every element on the screen, all the text on the screen, this is the best match. So you'll go and click on it, okay? So this will be, right, how you interact with desktop apps. Then for Xero and Google Sheet, those are web applications. So I have an example here, so I can show you right away. It's easier. This is, for example, this one on Xero. So Xero is a web-based software. So you can interact by primarily two ways. Using computer vision. That's one way. And the other way is provide the XPath and CSS to interact with the various menu items. So, and there's a third way. You can provide the XY coordinate of the menu items to click on. But I usually don't recommend that third way because very brittle, very fragile, right? Just a slight change in the location of the window, you'll break. So not recommended. I recommend using XPath as the best, more robust. And otherwise, if you don't want to find the XPath, you can just provide the image locators. That will work well too. Okay. Yeah, so this is for Google Sheet. And of course, on your web page, you can do things like your keyboard automation, or you can type text into it. All those things can be done without any difficulty. Now I'll show you some of the community contributions. Okay, so there's this Italian guy, but I think he moved to Spain already. So he wrote this again on TagUI homepage. He wrote this. Sorry, I clicked wrongly. Should be here. Yeah, he wrote this TagUI editor where you can use to, it's an editor for TagUI. You can have a drop down to insert the code you want to run. A shortcut key and so on. And then there's this TagUI writer he developed where you can use your preferred text editor, maybe Notepad++ or VS Code, and then you can right click to insert all these shortcuts from within your favorite editor. So this is from his community contribution. Then for myself, last year, almost a year ago, I started work on this project where I built a Python package that uses TagUI as underneath as a backend to automate UI interactions for Python. So let me show you a demo of this. So yes, this is a home page. Yeah, TagUI. I used to call it TagUI for Python, but now I changed it to RPA for Python because I got the RPA namespace already. So you can just pip install RPA and you can use the UI interactions capability of TagUI, web automation, visual automation, OCR automation, keyboard and mouse. You can use that in the Python environment. And the best thing is designed to work such that if you have your enterprise firewall and so on without internet, it can still work. You can install, you can update it without the internet. So it's designed to be workable without the internet. Right, so just now I can do a demo because this is this one I'm familiar with it. Okay, so maybe I go to TagUI folder. I launch Jupyter Notebook. You can do the same with the Python interactive session. Okay, this one I can close. Where's my Jupyter Notebook? Okay, it's really slowing down the computer recording. Okay, now I launched the Jupyter Notebook. Just kernel restart and clear output. So, you just import RPA as R after you do your initial pip install RPA. Then, you launch, when you do an R init, visual automation is true. For the first time you run, you automatically install TagUI for your correct operating system and get the latest update for TagUI to your OS. Then after you launch visual automation, then you do the other things, the standard stuff for Chrome, right, and so on. Yeah. So those of you who are familiar with Python, all this would be very familiar to you. It's nothing difficult and tough. It's just the same TagUI steps, except that it's all written in Python code and syntax. That's all. Okay. Let me just go ahead because there isn't a lot of time. What I'll do is I want to cover this part in the agenda, which just now I missed out. Okay. Leave page. Okay. So in the agenda, I was talking about this part on how to integrate AI and machine learning to your automation workflow. Okay, so from TagUI homepage, there's this example for face detect. So this will be an example where I use a popular face recognition library in Python. So this is the usual deep learning stuff, face recognition, blah, 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 blah. So if you're interested, you can look at this example. It shows a working example end to end where, you first go to a web page. You can be a list of web pages, and then normally you want to get the it's taking too long to load. Maybe the web page is not working anymore. It's a university web page for Hong Kong. Anyway, so what happened is this workflow tried to download the profile images of professors, right? So if you go to any professor homepage, you see many images, including sometimes his cars, a family, or maybe his office. So this workflow download all the images from the professor webpage. So you provide the URL based on a list of URLs. Then it call this Python face recognition tool to filter out which are the images that is the professor face, because the others will be like cups, office, tables, and so on. It's not relevant. So there are 3 ways to do something like this. First way, let me zoom in. You can, for tools that have a command line option, you can use the run step to run it on that image. The second way is you can write Python code directly within TagUI to call that this package. And then the third way will be for those of you who are familiar with services like Microsoft ML services, Google, and Amazon ML services. You can use the API step to make calls to do inferencing. Right? Can you tell me whether this image is a ball? Can you tell me what type of image is this? What objects is in the image? You can do things like that using API step. Okay. But for this example, it's being done locally using a Python deep learning model. It's not done by me, this deep learning model. It's done by this guy here, right? So if you follow the steps to set up, you can just run this to try how it works in practice to combine machine learning with this RPA. Okay, AI. Essentially, AI now, the mainstream AI is data-driven AI, which is machine learning. So these two are kind of like inseparable now, but in the future, that definition of AI may change. Okay. Yeah. So just enough time to do Q&A. So we just go straight to Q&A so that there's some time for interaction and questions. Oh yeah, for the Q&A, please type into the chat so that yeah, so that we can make sure we don't miss any questions. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Ishan is answering some questions already along the way. Great. Okay. Okay. So PyCharm, where PyCharm?
So, Ken, this is Nandan.
Yep.
So, I don't know if you covered the SAP part. Can you just talk about how we can use it with SAP or Salesforce?
Oh yes, just now I covered already. So the main concept is, because I don't have SAP on my computer, I can't demo with SAP. But the main concept is you use computer vision to automate the UI elements on the screen for SAP, and then you can use things like the search using OCR to click on the menu and the buttons on the SAP application. So all these are already inbuilt. And then later on, you can use things like the keyboard step to control information, to copy information out from SAP to your clipboard, and then you can save it somewhere to process later. Yeah, so I was covering just now with Salesforce and SAP, but SAP is more of desktop app, Salesforce Zero more of a web applications. Yeah, so...
Okay. People have been asking questions, as you can see.
And
Yesheng has been addressing them.
Yeah. Great.
So this doesn't have a database like a SQL server, right?
That's correct. Actually, for database, there's already, because it supports the run step to run command line commands. So for various database, they have their CLI to interface with database. So let's say you search database in the GitHub issue, you'll see a lot of examples on how to write, connect Oracle DB and fetch data from MySQL and so on. So let me show you this example. So this example, it try to connect to Oracle database and do a query and return the result. So things like this you can do off the shelf already, but it's just that you got to write the the code to integrate with it, in a sense. You got to write the script, what the query you want to do. There isn't a drag and drop interface to do something like that, but there are just examples where you can provide the SQL query to do the search and then save the result somewhere. Something like this, yeah. And in fact, for most RPA tools, the commercial RPA tools, they already gone above and beyond RPA. I mean, traditional RPA will be you do things on the UI layer which don't really involve database integrations or API integrations or even email integrations. But the commercial RPA tools have already done a very good job with that. So they already kind of like cross the line beyond RPA, but TagUI now is still within the boundary of RPA, traditional RPA. In the future, we plan to look at things like maybe integration with Excel and Google Sheet natively, because those are commonly used applications. But I don't think we have plans to integrate with all the different apps, because given the open source tool, it'll be hard to do that. But I think this tool called Automagica, you can check. You just search Automagica on Google, and this okay, this one. So for them, they try to do that. They use Python and the backend, and they try to build integration with different apps. Yeah. So they are taking a different strategy from TagUI. They try to build integration with different apps and so on. But TagUI just want to, for now, in the future that may change. We just want to focus on doing the core RPA integration very well. Same for the RPA for Python project. I just relimit the scope to just UI interaction steps and functions, so that people can download the RPA package. And then they combine with other tools like a request package. There's also packages in Python for Excel. Then they can do a lot of sophisticated automation. But for me, I still continue to maintain it, but I just focus on the RPA UI automation layer, if you call it.
All right, thank you. And so yeah, we'll be having an Automagica session as well. That's in the pipeline. So can we combine what is written for Automagica with TagUI?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a great question. In fact, another pointed out something that is really unique about open source RPA software. It's like the source code is actually open. So essentially, you can build integrations on your own, or you can combine different tools to do the complicated stuff. So, for example, OpenRPA or this Automagica, they will have function to run command line code. So from there, you can actually use Automagica to run TagUI automation, correct? And also, TagUI automation has the run step to run OS level code. So it can work both ways. So Automagica can run TagUI automation, and TagUI can run Automagica automation. It's like we are like friendly in the sense you can run each other and build something sophisticated. So it's really up to the user imagination how you want to program those automation. Yeah, and just now I would like Ishan to share about the roadmap, but because the recording, it can only record my voice, so earlier I just shared briefly the roadmap.
What is it, Ken?
The roadmap this year, Ishan will be looking at things like having a studio, RPA studio, essentially an IDE. Things like a reporting dashboard and an orchestrator for setting up workflows and monitoring the results. So he'll be looking at those later part of this year. But next up, we'll be releasing version 6 very soon with I think there's over 20 different changes to improve the user experience. After that, he will be looking at version 7, which is a migration to Node.js. Right now, the backend for this is a Phantom.js JavaScript engine, but there's a plans to migrate to Node.js JavaScript engine so that we can make use of the NPM ecosystem and packages, and we can also let the NPM ecosystem use TagUI natively as a package. So yeah, that one will be maybe sometime in the mid-year.